One of the questions we often get is what's the difference between Neograft and Artas? So these are both different devices that can be used in the hair transplantation procedure. They're both technically FUE devices. So I discussed a little bit about what FUE is and specifically what sets Neograft apart in a previous post, and that's linked right there. Now, what FUE is essentially when we take hairs from the back and put them in the front. Given that both of these are FUE devices, I wanted to explain a little bit about what makes them different. So first of all, Neograft is simply a service where without having any hair transplant practice set up, a surgeon can contact Neograft and they will help you build the entire service. They provide technicians, they provide marketing, they provide the machine and equipment necessary to build your own practice. And they also provide the training. Now, Artas is a very different device, but has a similar setup. By buying an Artas device, a provider can set up a hair transplant practice individually. Now, what Neograft essentially is a machine that can perform FUE, and it has some special tools that can make it a little bit different. The main tool that's different is instead of coring out the graft, it cores it out and sucks it up, so there's no human touch involved in the extraction. In addition, it has another tool where it can actually help place the grafts once the implant sites are made. In my experience, I've rarely seen technicians or providers willing to use that device. More difficult, more cumbersome, and it's easier to do it by hand. Artas is something very different. It's an absolutely amazing technology and one that I foresee being a leader in the future of what is coming next in hair transplant surgery. Now, what Artas is a robotic device that does the work for you from both extraction and implantation. The robotic arm is guided by a surgeon and a field is mapped, and the computer can analyze the angles of the grafts and the density of grafts remaining to not overharvest and to perfectly extract the hairs. Now, I don't think anybody can say without a doubt that the best hair transplant surgeon would not be as good as the Artas robot, which is guided by any surgeon. But at the same time, as that technology improves, we will eventually start seeing a difference. But at this time, I don't know if it's there. While Artas technology is great, the biggest downside is there's increased cost for the provider. With both companies, while it's a great service that they provide in setting up your practice, they do charge a royalty for every graft obtained and implanted. Typically, that royalty is going to be passed on to the consumer. Now, I've seen Artas is priced as high as $15 per graft, but you can always find deals on it for newer practices. It's important to know when you're making your decision that it shouldn't be solely based on the marketing from those companies, that in the end, they're both a means to get to a goal, which is your dream hair.